Right now, Drew.
Right now, hey.
Let's talk about demonstrators today.
Why?
Because we have two specifically that have just come in. By the way, it's good to have you on. I've been on here with you in a while. Anyway, so we have the TWSBI 580 ALR, and the Pelikan M205 Demonstrator. Both relatively new pens.
Yeah.
And both from brands that are pretty well known. But we thought we'd feature them anyway just because we have them.
Yeah, well, sometimes with brands that are well known, there are slight differences. Sometimes you come up with something new and it's very, very obvious what the deal is. And then sometimes if it's already kind of a thing, you need to figure out, why do I need this? Or why is this interesting and new?
Exactly.
And that's my question with both of these, especially this one.
Okay, so we're going to save that for a couple minutes from now because I want you to
That's
have that
fine.
pent-up excitement.
I was just kidding. Didn't want to know anything about it. Okay.
So let's talk about the Pelikan first.
Let's do it.
First off, the packaging. Love the packaging.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they do a really good job with these. Even with the 205, which is like their lower end Subron, they do a phenomenal job. They have like this little ribbon.
And if you are the lucky person to buy this and realize that the bow is poorly tied, you can blame it on this guy right here.
You happen to buy a, what size is this? Fine. And you're like, what is up with this? But I'm pretty decent at tying these bows.
What?
I gotta admit. Yeah, I'm okay.
The more you know.
Master bow tire. No, not really. Comes in a little bag. Okay, so like once you finally get it all out of here, does anybody actually use these like to carry the pen around? I don't know.
I don't know.
Do you? Do you actually use these things? It makes for a really nice presentation.
Probably
But
not.
it's a little floppy. I don't know.
And also, you're gonna retie the bow every time you want to take it for a ride.
I don't know. But it makes for a great gift pen or gift to yourself kind of thing. I'm trying to take this little plastic tag thing off.
So, it's a demonstrator, a 100% demonstrator. Obviously, we've carried a bunch of these in the past that have been quasi-semi-demonstrators or colored demonstrators.
Ron's having some troubles over here.
But this time,
There we go.
It's 100% clear. Look at that, grip section and everything.
Yes. So what's really cool about demonstrators in general is you can see kind of everything that's going on with the pen. And, you know, with this one, you definitely get to see everything that's going on for better or for worse. Now, this one, some demonstrators don't have a clear grip. Some just have, you know, a clear body of the pen, like you'll see with the TWSBI in a minute. But, you know, that allows you to see the ink that's floating around. But this one, it, like, bears all. Like, you do not hide anything.
For sure. And I don't think a lot of people realize just how close the ink gets to the top of the nib. Like the ink really, really does saturate the inside of the grip section.
And that's a question we get a lot of times is, you know, if people see, like, especially on Platinum Preppy or, you know, usually if somebody's buying a pen that's in this price range, they're somewhat familiar with the process, but maybe not even if it's their first demonstrator.
For sure.
When you see ink that's inside the grip, or if you have a nib that fits really far up inside the grip, like on the Noodler's Ahab or something like that, if you get a demonstrator version of that, you can get ink all up around there. People think like it's leaking.
Or it's about to leak, or it's very close to leak, but really that is totally normal.
Totally normal. All pens do that pretty much. What's cool about the Pelikans is that the entire nib unit can unscrew out of the pen, which is really handy for these demonstrators because you're probably going to want to try to really clean them thoroughly, and you get its Q-tip up in there and clean it all out.
And unlike the TWSBI, this piston unit is not meant to be disassembled.
Right.
So you don't want to go messing with that. So getting easy access to the ink reservoir like that is super handy.
That's about as far as you want to take it.
Yeah.
But super handy. You can swap the nibs in between each other on the 200 series as well as the 400 series. Those both fit. The nib sizes are the same, but the 400s have a gold nib. So if you happen to just love a 200 model pen and you have a 400 and you want to swap the nib, you can do that. But anyway, so that's the 200. You know, several different nib sizes. Really nice looking pen, really clean. I was glad to see that it was not like kind of a foggy, hazy kind of demonstrator.
No, it is a beautifully clear demonstrator.
Super, super crisp. Okay, so that's the Pelikan. So we can stop talking about that. Let's talk about the TWSBI because this is new and I haven't actually even seen this one in person yet.
Neither have I.
Our pictures, but I was sick and then I was out and blah, blah, blah.
I don't have an excuse.
Yeah, Drew has no excuse.
I just haven't looked at it.
You should look at every single thing that comes in.
I know.
As it comes.
I know.
So I personally have the 580 All, the original.
All right.
Original All, which is the same as a 580, but it has a aluminum grip, an aluminum piston mechanism, and piston rod.
That it does.
Which on just the plain silver version, it's really subtle and it's hard to tell because it kind of blends in with the trim. When you have the colored All versions, that's where it really stands out.
Really pops, yeah.
Yeah, and Rachel's a big fan of those. She's got basically every all that comes out. She collects.
All the alls.
So yeah, this is the 580 All-R, ALR, All-R. Which I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, and
really.
Why is the R there? Do you know that? Because I don't. Because it's not a redesign. It doesn't stand for redesign. Because I think the VAC 700R stood for redesign, right? Because they redid it. That was always my thought.
Well, I think it. Well, so it is a redesign. I think that's what the R.
But they're not replacing the old one.
But it's not replacing it. Correct.
But redesign to me is like like you don't. You stop doing the old one. You do the. I don't know.
It just means it's been designed again. So it doesn't mean that...
That's true.
Doesn't necessarily imply that the original is gone, but I mean the 580 All is a very popular pen, and I think because they have the color versions and all that kind of stuff, they're not looking to get rid of it necessarily. But oh, Andy, you're like trying to keep up with me here. Can you see that all right? Are we good? No?
Working on it.
No? I can get it over there if you want. We're good.
Yeah, bring it over here.
We're testing some new stuff anyway. Okay. Boom. So right at the onset, as I'm looking at it, let me take it out of the packaging. The TWSBI's packaging is pretty cool too.
It is
very
cool.
different, very Apple-esque, very sleek. But right off the bat, it's a little easier to tell the difference between it and a regular 580 because immediately the trim looks different.
Yeah.
So it's a more of a, it's not a gunmetal. What color would you call that?
Actually, I would call that a gunmetal.
You would?
I think
gunmetal?
that.
Okay.
I think a lot of in fountain pen terminology anyway, gunmetal gets swapped out with black sometimes, and really gunmetal is not black. You know, gunmetal is like that.
It's like a ruthenium.
It's just like a darker silver.
Yeah.
And I think that that's actually pretty close to what I always considered to be gunmetal.
And it feels, it's not as shiny.
It's
not as slick.
It's definitely a little bit more matte.
Yeah, I think that's part of where that color difference is coming from. The TWSBI logo pops a little bit more because, you know, it's a little bit darker color.
I like it a lot. That looks really cool.
And then I know the grip is different too.
Isn't it textured a little bit?
It is a little bit textured.
Can you feel that with your finger or just your fingernail?
Oh, I can feel it with my finger.
Does it bother you?
It's subtle. It's not as much as like remember we had tactile
turn. That was like what I was gonna ask.
It's not as drastic as that.
Okay.
Oh, can you see that?
Because some people are weird about textures. Do you think this is subtle enough that it wouldn't put anybody off?
I think if you're weird about textures, you might be weird about this.
Oh.
Yeah, here, give it a shot. Give it a shot.
Well, see, I like the tactile turns. Oh wow.
Yeah, like
what does this feel? This feels a little familiar. This feels like. What is this? It's a very familiar sensation. It's not bad. I actually really like it because there are a lot of grips that make my fingers want to just gravitate right toward the nib, and this doesn't do it.
No, not at all.
This one, you've got a little bit of
feels a little slicker. Here, go back to the regular 580 All. Let's try that. Just a little switch. You swap you back and forth. It definitely gives you like a firmer plant.
I like that one a lot. Overall, just looking at that in comparison to this
looks
anyway.
Looks a little slicker.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Looks a little slicker.
And I like that I do like that, like what you said, the trim does not blend in with the finish. Because this almost looks weird because this shiny aluminum is almost as shiny as the steel trim.
Almost.
And it almost looks like they just weren't able to match it.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, I know this is just the case with the silver AL. But that one, it looks, hey, this is super intentional. There was a lot of, intentional design carried out here.
So if you had to choose for yourself,
which
one?
Definitely.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow, that's a quick answer.
It's sharp. It's really sharp, and I love it. You pointed this out too. Like the logo pops out really nice, and you'll also see that same texture. It's not just there. You also see it on the finial band up on top of the cap as well.
Indeed. So there you have it,
folks.
Which
which provides a nice balance.
I'll just kind of place all the pens there so Andy can get a good shot as we close this out. But yeah, I gotta say, all in all,
it is all in all. All in all.
Pretty cool. A subtle difference.
Yeah.
TWSBI's known for making subtle changes to some of their models of pens, but it's rarely poorly received when they do so. They're always trying to make things better, improve them. I think this is pretty cool. Will it be for everybody? No, especially if you're weird about texture. You may want to stick with the regular 580 or the 580 All, but the All-R, Aller.
Sure.
ALR.
Sure.
I think it's a worthy look. So anyway, check out the Pelikan M205 Demonstrator as well as the 580 All-R and at gouletpens.com.
That's where you do it.
That's where you do it. Indeed. Well, I hope you have a great Monday, Drew.
I hope you have a great week, Brian.
Thanks.
Look at that. See, I'm nicer.
The whole week.
Look at that.
You gotta one-up me, don't you, every time in front of the people. Anyway, I hope you all have a great life. Anyway. Cheers and trees with the camera setup. Bye, everybody. Right on.